Mr. Friedrich is head of international affairs of Metro, and Metro back in 2003 started with the first cash and carry store in India, in Bangalore. Please, Mr. Friedrich, introduce yourself and a bit of the history and the development since 2003 for Metro in India.
Yes, thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure to talk about our Metro story in India this morning. With this sudden switch of order that we had, I think the topics are so closely connected that I think it will be interesting for the audience in both directions. Yes, first maybe let me say some general things about Metro. So Metro is present in 34 countries across Europe and Asia, out of which 24 countries we are present with these big blue boxes that you might know, these wholesale stores, out of which we have a total of 670. And what is important to understand that each of these stores has up to 20,000 food and 30,000 non-food products in its assortment. So it's a very wide range, and I will tell in a second why this is so important. Altogether, we have 97,000 employees and daily 16 million customers worldwide. Additionally to this wholesale business, with the cash and carry stores, we also have service companies, digitization services for our customers, food service delivery, including subsidiaries like Classic Fine Food. But what is very crucial is that we are a wholesaler. We are not a supermarket, we are not a retailer. This means that our customers are professionals. They are buying for their businesses, and that's why we need this big assortment that we mentioned before. And ultimately, we have three customer groups. Those are traders, HoReCa, so hotel, restaurant, catering, and what we call SCOs. So, for example, a law firm like Meyer & Vidorno that might buy the professional goods that they need for their business, and in our stores, you know, coffee or whatever they need. But clearly, the two main customer groups are traders and HoReCa, and for them, our business is focused. So this means that we want to be more than just someone who puts goods into a shelf, but we want to be a partner. This was a little global detour, but I think it's important to understand where we come from. So yes, you mentioned in India, we are present since 2003. By now we have 28 stores. Actually, last October, we opened number 28 in Tumkur, Karnataka. What is important there that we are also experimenting with formats. So that one is a much smaller store than we normally have them, which means that the assortment is smaller, but obviously it's also for a smaller city. By now we have about 5,000 employees and approximately 1 million daily active customers of the above mentioned group. And maybe one last thing, the most important group in India of our customers are Kirana, so small traders who are an integral part of their neighborhood communities for retail services for people.
Okay, so from 1 to 28 and 5,000 employees sounds like good growth. So have your expectation been fulfilled when entering the market, and how do you assess the future development? Is it this strong growth continuing?
Well, I think expectations in India, that's always a bit of a tricky thing, because you know, whoever tells you we had expectations about India, we went and everything worked as expected, I would have my doubts. Obviously, when we went to India, we looked at the market size, about the growth potential with a middle class of 300 million plus. There were no major competitors on the market at that time. So it was a very, very attractive market at that time. And also as a wholesaler, we could enter the market much easier than, let's say, a retailer could. However, we had to learn that business was different. There are huge regional differences in consumer needs. Our standard stores, I was talking about the big blue boxes, were not necessarily the right format for the climate that we were facing. There were challenges along the supply chain about how to source, finding the right people, internal structures, how to run business in India, and then there was also huge differences with in terms of regulation, even on a regional level. So all these things you simply only find out once you're in India. And I think you have to be prepared that when you enter India, there will be surprises. However, we believe that that it's worth it. We've found the right people and right structures, so we divided our organizational structure, Northeastern, Southwestern organization. We have learned how to adjust our concepts to the Indian particularities. We simply believe that knowing our customers was key to set us apart. We worked with bringing our suppliers where they needed to be, and simply we continue to expand. So with India continuing to grow, with just the size of the middle class as mentioned, and with us finding out how India works, we see a huge growth potential, and that's why it's also one of our focus countries for further growth.
Okay, maybe one sentence, so to say, to the lessons learned. Have there been things which in the from the point of today which could have been avoided, or which you can recommend to others not to do?
You know, the challenge is that simply you make your own mistakes either way. In our case, it was clearly thinking that we know how our business works, and that's how you go into India and you expand, and people will love it. You do whatever because you have good products.
Okay.
I think for us it was really important to understand that we need to engage with the community, that we need to show people what our added value is, and I think this clearly made a difference.
So the topic is of our interview related to the, let's say, the diversity of the different Indian customers. India very often is treated as one country like Belgium or Croatia, but it's huge, yeah. And so how was this, let's say, the heterogeneity of consumers in the different regions? Is this something which reflects also to your product portfolio in the Metro stores?
Absolutely. So India is, India is not Belgium or even Germany. India is a continent, or at least a subcontinent, and there are such huge major regional differences. It's not just north-south or Hindu-Muslim, vegetarian, non-vegetarian. There are such regionalized preferences, and really knowing these local needs, knowing your customer is incredibly crucial, more crucial probably than anywhere else. So this is very important when sourcing products. For example, we are highly localized in our products. 98% of our products come from India, and we work with 5,000 local suppliers simply to be very focused on the local needs. And also each store needs to see individually what the demands of our customers, professional customers who of course run their business and therefore need the best possible goods, what needs there are for them.
So just you said 98% of the products in a Metro store in India are sourced locally. Okay, yes. Just at 98. Okay, that's huge. So then it's so to say crystal clear that I will not find the same products like in the Metro store in Köln. So for the products which are imported to India, this 2%, how do you know that these products will be successful in India, or how do you test that?
I mean, pretty much there are two barriers here. One of them is simply the import barrier, or the tariffs that come on certain goods that make them so expensive that it's not worth it. And the second one is local needs and local preferences. So you have to consider this in your strategy, and from our point of view, it only makes sense for products that are not available in India. Let's say certain fruits that our professional customers want to have. Let's say we're talking about a hotel or whatever that for its buffet needs certain fruits that are not available, and certain luxury products. For example, electronics like an iPhone might be something that you want to have in your stock and that you cannot get from there. However, I also have to say this local sourcing strategy is a global thing for us. I mean, in most countries, we are 90% and above with local products because we think that this makes sense from a commercial perspective, from an ecological perspective, and it reflects our customers' wishes. Nevertheless, particularly strong in India.
Okay, and these 28 stores which you have in India, where are they? Are there clusters? Are there regions where you have many, and then on the countryside nothing? And how is this planned, so to say? What's the best strategy for that?
I mean, in a way, you have to look at it from two sides. In the beginning, where we started in Bangalore, we started in the south, and we grew from there. So to start with, we have 9 stores, let's say in the rough north, so Amritsar, Chandigarh, Delhi, Lucknow, Jaipur, what I would describe as the north, 6 in the west, in Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra, 12 in the south, out of which 6 are in Bangalore, actually, in and around Bangalore, Hyderabad, and only 1 in the east in Kolkata. Though the Kolkata one was one of our first 6-7 stores that we built in India. So you can see that the later strategic focus was much more on the southwest coast up to the north. Yeah, we grew from there, and we continue to grow. However, our focus has shifted a bit. So we are not looking at the major metropolitan areas like Delhi or Bangalore or Mumbai that much anymore, but our focus is much more on tier 2, tier 3 cities. Various reasons for that.
Okay. And now coming to your main customers in India. We are here in Cologne, so we have kiosks everywhere. And in India, this pretty much the Kirana stores are looking like that, no? Are you even aware how many Kirana stores there are in India, and how do you inform them about, okay, here's also Metro, that's for you a good player, and how do you inform them about new products?
Yes, actually we are aware how many they are. There are approximately 12 million of them across India. Okay. And they are responsible for roughly 90% of India's food supply. So they, despite growth in, let's say, modern retail in India, they still play a major role. And this role goes beyond, you know, just providing people with food. They are then community hubs. Many of their customers buy at their stores for decades already, or for generations sometimes. And they are also handed down from parents to their kids and further in ownership. So these are communities of trust. And also for us, we have to earn their trust. So we have to go out and engage, which means that we go out with customer managers. They have to, you know, ideally maybe also be from the communities when it comes to language. Obviously, regionally, there's quite strong similarities, but you cannot send someone from northern India to be community manager in southern India. And they need to engage, but what is even more important, that they need to stand by their word. We said that to make our customers strong, we have different programs for this, and if they give them an advice, that advice really needs to stand. It cannot be, you know, a statement to sell maybe a few bags of sugar more, but it really needs to support their business. And if you earn that for a long time, then they also remain committed to you.
Okay, so are there, let's say, at least that is for technical products where our main customers are from, we are all aware that India is a very price sensitive market. So what are suitable strategies to to keep those Kirana stores as customers if they are once then in the Metro store?
I mean, yeah, price clearly matters also for us. I mean, but that is also a global thing. Our format with the big stores is also connected to the ability of offering the best possible prices. Our package sizes are based on that, and many other things are really focused to fulfill the needs of the customers. However, I mean, Kirana, as I mentioned, that they're responsible for more than 90% of food retail in India. Nevertheless, they feel strong pressure from e-commerce and modern retail at the moment. And many of them, they never modernize their business. You know, India, these are more or less, you know, in the beginning, I thought they're selling from garages because it's really just the opening with the counter at the front, and you're always surprised how many products they have in garages. So for us, it was also important that we enable them to grow, that we offer solutions. I don't know if you come to this later as well, maybe in more detail, but we offer them digital solutions, stock management solutions. We support them with getting to loans through partners, and then different such projects simply to make them stronger. And so beyond the price level, there is also this aspect of simply being a partner and making, you know, their success our business, and then being successful ourselves from that.
Very interesting. This 98% sourcing locally, that just is an extremely high number. Yeah. So when sourcing in India, how do you do that? I mean, how do you assure that this is Metro quality here? No, that's one thing. And then how do you, so to say, bypass all these India middlemen? No, I recently I've seen it in the newspaper again that like 30–40% of all the crops in India, they vanish on the way to the consumer, because no cool chain and so on. So what's your strategy here?
Yes, I think, I mean, I was talking a lot about, you know, prices and being partner and everything. The foundation for everything is that your products are good, that they are healthy, that they are, you know, best in class, and this is the absolute fundamental for us. So we created various health and safety standard operation procedures. Even before COVID, when it was about, you know, hygiene of procedures, what to touch, how to touch it, all these kind of things. We work with the Federation of Indian Commerce and Industry, FICCI, and to set these ones up. So the government also recommended these measures to be followed by the entire sector. So we are very proud of setting this bar. I think what you mentioned about the supply chain is very important. So typically farmers, they used to sell their goods to middlemen. They used to be, for some time, that middleman either sold the products onto the next middleman or to us. And this led to loss of income for the farmers. This led to farmers having to wait a long time for their payments. The supply chains were very long. Sometimes it took 36 hours for goods to reach the stores, and it also led to higher consumer prices because of the high waste. So for this, we set up 5 collection centers, and the farmers can go there. They can drop their goods, and within a day, by Pay Direct card, they receive the payment. So for them, there is no middleman. They receive the money quickly. They receive the best possible price, and we shorten the supply chain for us. Even though we pay them more than they would receive, still, of course, it also comes with a price advantage for us. And the goods, much fresher, reach our store in 8 instead of these 36 hours. So obviously, also a lot of food waste is avoided. So again, an example for how in India, if something doesn't work, then you have to be creative and come up with your own solutions to it, and you can come up with your own solutions for everything.
Okay. Very good. So we are coming to the last questions already. Our time is passing by fast. You just said that there is no, or let's say the the Kirana stores face more and more competition from the e-commerce side. Is this also a channel which is of relevance for Metro, or doesn't it, or does it not work in the, so to say, cash and carry world?
No, e-commerce, we always speak of omni-channel. We believe in our stores. We think that you know, a professional customer who buys for his business also wants to see the goods, or at least have the opportunity to see the goods. But this cannot be the only way, because there are also, you know, everyone knows traffic in India. You want to be as efficient as possible when you go somewhere. So this needs to, you know, be accomplished by different technical solutions. For this, we, for example, have the Metro Wholesale app, where customers can select their goods, and then they can decide whether they pick them up, whether it works with delivery. I think these things simply need to go hand in hand. And while for a retailer it might work to just sell through an app, for a wholesaler we need to have the entire portfolio.
Is this, let's say, traffic chaos, sometimes, especially in Bangalore and in Mumbai, you have traffic jams where you can easily spend 3-4 hours. Is this a driver for e-commerce, so that then the Kirana stores don't have to personally come by to a Metro store, but instead they order and you deliver?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Wonderful. Never ask yes or no questions.
You know, we try to. Well, if you ask me with a question, then I can answer with yes. No, if you, of course, we work with opening hours. You know, some of our stores they open at 6. In some cases, professional customers who are, you know, good customers, they can even come earlier in some cases, and these things. So nevertheless, we see that you know, there is also another issue. If you know it, in Germany, our stores are very far outside. In India, of course, the cities they grew and grew and grew, and our stores often are much more centrally located, which in this case is an advantage. But at the same time, especially when entering new cities, we face the challenge of where to place your store. We have to go even further outside. So it's even more challenging, and this is also connected to prices for property and similar factors. So we face even more the challenge of how to get the goods to the people, and there we are convinced that you know, our Metro Wholesale app and digital solutions and online tools and delivery need to accompany the traditional business.
Very good. Sounds like the right business model, no? Also for India, Mr. Friedrich. We thank you very much for your time and the flexibility in the morning, yeah. And
yes, very happy to talk about Metro, and if later on the viewers have questions, I'm happy to answer them.